And yeah, that's 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 why I'm late today, because people do silly things, and so now I have to go investigate silly things. So yay for investigations!
Yeah,
Yay! It's fun.
sounds good.
So anyway, that's the thing. But everything's blue and shiny. OctoKitty's here.
OctoKitty is here.
OctoKitty is here. So
Octo.
yep. And nerd is the word. Speaking of that, so yeah, you've got a note here for our pre-show. Uh, Emerald City Comic Con tickets are on sale. Have you already bought your crazy VIP tickets you buy every year?
No, I haven't. I bought a different crazy VIP ticket because they came out with a new ticket this year.
Is it more VVVI VIP?
No, it's less VVVVIVIP.
Okay.
So they came out with a special cosplay VIP.
Okay.
Um, it is cheaper than the one that I typically get, and you get a special VIP or you get a special cosplay gift bag that only this badge holder will have. You get like a very special like lanyard, and then you also get access into like cosplay VIP only workshops.
All right.
So I
That's fun.
was like, yeah, let's give that a shot.
That's fun. Fun. So speaking of cosplay, is that your most useless ability, or do you have something else in mind here in the show notes about useless abilities?
So Discord asked, it was like, hey, like set your status. What is your most useless ability? So if you look in Discord right now, my status says talking Alex to Alex about Alex is my most useless ability.
I don't even know what my useless ability is. I have so many. I have
Oh my
so many useless abilities.
God.
That provide me no intrinsic value in my entire life. How much are ECC tickets this year? Let's take a look. Actually, I haven't even looked. The funny
Yeah,
thing
so
is PAX is this year.
yep.
Base 4 day. Well, come on.
4 day is $695 just
No,
for a standard 4 day pass.
it's not that much.
It's not that
Um,
much.
clock's ticking. There's a price increase in November. Come on. Where is it at? Okay, I see which bundle you got now. Let's bring up the browser view. Okay, so Kids Sunday 6 through 12, $15. That's actually a good deal. That's a good deal right here. This I gotta do for Jordan. Okay, let's see here. 4 day ticket is 150. You know what? That's not bad. And a Thursday ticket's only 25. I kind of like that tiered pricing right there. 25 for Thursday, 60 for Friday, 75 for Saturday, and 60 for Sunday. And a 4 day ticket's only 150 bucks. It's way cheaper than PAX. And that's true. It's way cheaper than PAX. And this kid one, as somebody who has a kid who likes to go to Comic Con, now here's the thing. You've seen this, Jay. My kid only has patience for basically one day. That's it, right? She's there for one day. So last year, you got this bundle, right? The 339 one, the
Yeah.
Celebrity VIP.
I will say this. Something that I just noticed that is really actually cool. Um, because I was VIP last year, I got a special like 24-hour access to buy tickets before everyone else.
Yeah.
Celebrity VIP was already sold out. Like they were like, nope, sold out. And then today, the tickets open for everyone, but Celebrity VIP is for sale. So I think they only released like a handful of the Celebrity VIP
Mm-hmm.
and then saved like the rest for like general population. So
This is a
it's kind of good. I kind of like that.
this is a pretty good deal too, for 500 bucks. Two kids 4 days, two adult 4 days in VIP. Right, 40 bucks worth of vouchers for convention food vendors, hotel block, swag bag, 10% off at the show store. Coat check. Main priority seating for main stage. This is not a bad deal if you're going as a family. I'm kind of impressed. I'm actually kind of tempted to buy this family VIP bundle. You know,
I mean, might as well go ahead and get it
I
if you're
might,
gonna do it.
I might do that. Am I going to PAX? I actually was not planning on going to PAX this year. There's basically nothing at PAX that I saw that I was like super hyped about seeing. Um, I normally really love. I used to really love PAX, but ever since E3 died, it's kind of been not as good. Basically, COVID kind of killed it. You know. Have you been to PAX, Jay?
I've never been to PAX because coworker of mine went, and that was the year that they were handing out free potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "It sucks. I got a free potato." And I was like, "What?" So yeah, I've never been.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat is saying they've got Groupon deals. I actually saw that in the Google machine. They've apparently got Groupon deals on PAX West badges. So that tells me they're not doing well. Let's see what the Groupon deal is. I want to see it now. Oh my God, what is it? Single day admission, up to 50% off. So a Saturday badge is $53, but it's sold out. Monday's 32. Friday is 52. That's actually not bad. Um, I can't go tomorrow because I'm too busy. They didn't sell out 4 days for the first time. Um, PAX used to be really good. PAX used to be, says chat saying, PAX looks really dumb, looks boring. It used to be such an awesome convention. It was, to my mind, one of the best in the Seattle area. Full stop. It wasn't. It's just, like I said, ever since the death of E3 and COVID, it just hasn't been as good. Yeah. I wish PAX could get back to the glory days. That would be great. Did I go last year? Did I go last year? I think I went last year. I think I went last year, but I also don't remember. I can't remember. I think I went last year. Pretty sure. And I worked so many PAXs, it's ridiculous. Is it more of a business con than a fan con? Oh, absolutely not. This is absolutely a fan con. E3 was more of a business con. PAX is definitely a fan con. It's for the fans. No, it's not a business con. Not at all. That was never its intent. Okay. We actually got kind of some fun lineups for tonight. Jay got a good one. We're going to talk some Marvel, right? Jay has been downing on their stuff, right? Forever. For the whole time since I sat down 5 minutes ago about their topic suggestions. I actually really like them. Says, okay, yeah, so let's talk about this story that's going on in chat. Okay, so VT Pilot, who is our friend, who I'm not going to dox on the internet, he would bring a variety, just bags and bags of Asian snacks to PAX every year. And back when we were promoting Identico, we would be locked into this demo room all day, every day of PAX, demoing Identico. And if not for VT Pilot and their bag of snacks, I would have died many times. I would have perished of pure starvation had it not been for their snacks. Okay, the snacks are wonderful. They had the best snacks, all of the best Asian snacks, and they were very generous with their snackitude. Okay, and it was wonderful. It seriously saved my life many times being stuck on a demo floor at PAX West for stuff. What's going on? I have no idea what's about to happen here. Somebody's talking about PAX. I don't remember. I don't know. So I missed something in the chat, and there's that. All right, should we get to the show, Jay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to you from our weird home studios It's the Error Code Show for August 28th. Your place for news, pop culture, politics, gaming, whatever the hell else we want to talk about. If you want to support the show, you get a free Prime sub from Amazon Prime. If you're a Prime member, you can use that in your Twitch thingy to give us Amazon's money, and we always appreciate it. Comment, like, and subscribe to videos on our YouTube channel if you miss any of our previous shows. The full live stream is up every week. Plus, just topic by topic, we upload those every week. So we're on the march to 5,000 subs. So thank you to everybody. We're at over 1,300 right now, and we're trying to get to that lovely 5,000 mark, which is really when cool stuff starts to happen for us. Yeah, we really appreciate all the support so far, and everybody who's into the show tonight. Thank you very much. I already see people putting some chat suggestions in there. We'll talk about the Marvel blow-ups here in a little bit. But with that, Jay, you want to kick us off with our first topic?
Oh, yeah. So last week we talked about how stupid and crazy tabletop games are in general. No, I'm just kidding. Not tabletop games in general. And we just got canceled. But no, we talked about, what was that tabletop game that we talked about?
It was Assassin's Creed, the board game.
Yeah.
Why has everything got to be a board game?
Dumb. So dumb. So anyways, when I was looking for topic ideas for tonight's show, and I was like, what is there that's not depressing? I came across these like 3 tabletop games that I'm saying are rumors, because I did not see like from an accredited source.
Okay.
So we have Attack on Titan RPG announcement, tabletop RPG. This was supposedly revealed at Gen Con this year. Then we have Marvel Tabletop RPG Adventure, Marvel Rivals. This is supposed to be released March 2026. And then we have Diablo Tabletop RPG Incoming Diablo. That's supposed to be on Kickstarter later this fall. And I was like, oh my tabletops. That's a lot. And why does everything have to be a tabletop? I think Alex is currently trying to fact check and look to see if there's any sort of credibility to these.
So there is some credibility to these. Polygon's got the Attack on Titan tabletop RPG. Now confirmed through a new release, the yet unnamed game, final unnamed, will have fans and players to step into the dramatic world created by Hajime Isayama for his award-winning manga. So that one is absolutely 100% real. I could have sworn there was already a Diablo TTRPG at one point. Yep, that is happening. Yep, Gates of Hell opens in 22. Yep, this is happening. That Diablo one. Actually, that looks kind of neat. So let's bring up that view. This is the Diablo tabletop RPG. Look, I mean, that's some cool looking minis. That's neat. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, this kind of license stuff, because who makes Twilight 2000? It's Free League. Free League Publishing does a lot of these, right? They do a crap ton of these games. If you look at Free League Publishing, they do the Alien role-playing game, Blade Runner, Lord of the Rings, Walking Dead. They've done these for a while. Look, did I say TTRPG, not board game? Yes, that's what Jay said. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Marvel Rivals, just play the freaking video game. It's even free. Diablo, I don't know why you would just not play Diablo, like actual Diablo. Attack on Titan, I could kind of see that. But like everything has to be some sort of game.
I don't know never mind. From a business standpoint, I understand, right? Let's get a really recognizable IP and try and bring people in and get them to do this stuff. I get it. I absolutely do. to me, it's never really appealed to me to play inside someone else's sandbox like this, especially something with like a set canon. The only exception to this rule for me is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle tabletop RPG. TMNT was awesome, and I liked playing with Mutant Animal Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I mean that checks. I have an idea, Alex. Get to 5,000 subs. We should come out with our own board game.
No, no, no.
I mean like a podcast board game.
No. Oh, podcast board game. Oh no, I was in that space for far far too long. It drives me absolutely up the wall. I'll tell you, there's almost nothing that could make me go back to tabletop publishing under any circumstances. And again, I respect the people that do it. I love tabletop RPGs. I love board games, but it's most of the time it's a money grab.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what this would be. It would be a money grab, but you could play as Octo Kitty.
Yeah, playing as Octo Kitty would be great. We would have to come up with some more characters, I think. I don't know what we would do, but we'd have to have more characters in our board game than you, me, and Octo Kitty. Somebody in the chat's asked me about the Star Wars tabletop RPGs. Again, exception, not the rule. I think that's the exception that proves the rule. Yeah, I'm generally against licensed IP in tabletop RPGs. Give me something original.
That's very true. Yeah.
So, Teenage Mutant Octo Kitty.
What if, like, I don't know, you could create a whole backstory of Octo Kitty, like how, I don't know, the Kraken came to Seattle, and then Octo Kitty, like, it was from a very old clan of Octo Kitties, and then its home was ravaged by the Kraken, and then like Octo Kitty washed up on the Seattle shore, much like the feet that are in the shoes. There you go. Octo Kitty washed up on shore. Did Octo Kitty eat the people? I don't know. I'm not saying that.
All right, so let's end this segment with this. If you could do a licensed RPG, like either create it or play it, right? If you were like, this is the one where I would do it, which one would it be, right? What IP would you want to play?
Yeah, let me think about this. Dang. What? Yeah, let me think about this. Trying to think of something super cringe. I don't know. I think I think Dragon Ball Z might be fun. I don't know if that already exists.
That one does already exist. It does. Somebody made that a long time ago. Yeah, and somebody in the chat's kind of bring up. A lot of them have been done. A lot of them, they've been done before. I get it. You know. Yeah. For me, I honestly got to go Neon Genesis Evangelion.
That is a really good one. That would be really cool, but you would have to somehow incorporate severe depression.
Yes.
In your game.
And disturbing imagery. Okay. What do you think? Is there any tell us down in the chat below, is there any IPs that you like? Do you think the IP craze for tabletop RPGs has just gone too fucking far? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Okay. With that, first off, I'm gonna grab this, and actually this will be a good little mini topic. Somebody brought up the RDJ and Ryan Reynolds huge doomsday fight. So I was following this story because I thought it was interesting that apparently there was a big blow up on the Avengers Doomsday set between two major stars, and it was causing all kinds of problems on the set. And the first rumors that came out was that it was Ryan Reynolds and RDJ, right? That Ryan Reynolds said something stupid to RDJ, and RDJ was like, F you. Um, as you all know, I do watch the John Campbell show. He's pretty well connected in there, and other people have now broken this as well. Um, that turned out not to be true. RDJ and Ryan Reynolds have never met in person as of when that event occurred. They've never actually been in the same room together. Um, both camps came out and were like, no, that wasn't what happened. Now, Campia was able to confirm there was a fight-ish on the Doomsday set. No confirmation as to who it was, but apparently there was a kerfuffle, but it was squashed very quickly, and everybody's, happy and back in their corners now. But the Ryan Reynolds and RDJ thing turned out not to be true. Although I did see, and I would real quickly, Jay, for your opinion on this, does it shock you that immediately, without confirmation, everybody went, it was Ryan Reynolds? Ryan Reynolds is the asshole.
Um, I wouldn't say asshole, but I would say it wouldn't surprise me at all that Ryan Reynolds would say something snarky that would start an argument, especially with anyone that's in our current I don't know, administration.
The funny part, the funny part to me was that everybody was immediately went to Ryan Reynolds, and also everybody came down on RDJ's side. Everybody was like, no, RDJ is the king of the MCU. Screw you, Ryan. You're not gonna mess with Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean that's very true. Yeah. You can't really fuck with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, now when it comes to Marvel, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this story was true, right? Again, but and it also doesn't surprise me that everyone would take Iron Man's side. I mean, who did not cry in that movie? Okay, who didn't cry? Because whoever did not cry should be on a list somewhere because you have no emotion. You are a psychopath, whatever. It's like yawning. When you yawn and no one else yawns, you need to leave that room immediately.
Let's see, we're getting competing commentary in the chat right now because somebody brought up the Blake Lively lawsuit that Ryan is involved with. So that's Ryan's wife, and that's turned into a whole thing. Parts of her deposition have now been leaked. It's a whole other thing. And then somebody else Ryan Reynolds is one of the nicest guys on earth. Again, there's a bunch of stuff blowing over with that Blake Lively lawsuit. Yeah. And I actually think now that some of the stuff came out, I think that because the WGA actually just kicked out 2 of its members for writing during the strike. They banned them forever. And I think they're going to end up investigating Ryan for violating the strike. He may have violated it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's some stuff there. All right. But speaking of Marvel, should we talk about a little bit more Marvel and the fact that I'm a giant fucking nerd? Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
I thought you were a tech bro.
No. Hey, I'm not wearing a vest. Okay. Wait till I put on my vest. I have a vest and I'm not wearing it right now. All right. Let's talk some Marvel. So, we've had a lot of folks all over the internets be like, Marvel is failing, and Marvel, oh, it's da-da-da. The thing about us fans is, first off, we have weird short-term memory, and we also have some weird Mandela effects that kind of happen with us. And so I want to talk about the business of the MCU as a franchise and what they really did. And because I'm a big nerd, I made a big spreadsheet, okay, yesterday. Why? Because I'm a nerd. Okay? So we're going to talk about this for a second, but just to kind of demonstrate my point, right? I'm going to bring up a movie, a couple of movies, and no looking it up, all right? Okay? But what I want to bring up is a couple of points. And Jay, without looking it up, how much money, right, did Captain America the First Avenger? You remember Captain America the First Avenger? That was a great movie, right?
It's a great movie.
How much did it do at the box office?
Oh God, what year did that come out? Box office.
2010.
Oh God, I don't know. 2010. Okay, so that was early. That was definitely early.
2010, 2011.
I'm gonna say I feel like it's gonna be a very low number. I'm gonna say 80. I'm gonna say 80 million.
Okay, you're way off there, right? But it
Fuck.
did 370 million and some change, right?
Okay.
Which was way less than Iron Man, way less than stuff. Yeah, chat was like 500 million. Nope, 370. Which, by the way, is less than Captain America: Brave New World or the Thunderbolts made in the box office, right?
Ugh.
It made less money than Thunderbolts did, or Cap 4. Okay, this is why I say, if I would have said to you, what made more money, Captain America First Avenger or Captain America Brave New World, what is your instinct? Say.
Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah. How much money did Captain Marvel make? Everybody wants to say Captain Marvel was a big old flop. How much money did Captain Marvel make in the box office?
That's I thought it was a flop. Everyone was mad. They're like, "Oh, we have a female superhero. Females can't be superheroes. Oh, this is so mad. It's woke."
How much did Captain Marvel make at the box office?
Well, now I'm worried about my numbers. 400 million?
$1.1 billion.
Oh, wow, that is actually really surprising.
Okay. Captain Marvel made $1.1 billion in the box office. Okay. We don't remember. So now we're going to bring up my cool spreadsheet. Okay. And we're going to look at the MCU phase by phase real quick. Okay. And what I did is I tallied every box office that has been done by phase and how much money Marvel averaged per film by phase. Okay. So we're going to talk about this real quick. Okay. Phase 1, Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers to close out phase 1. Right? Incredible Hulk, not necessarily a flop per se. Okay? Because the budget wasn't that high. But not huge. They averaged 635 million per movie. Most of that dragged up by the 1.5 billion that the Avengers made. Okay. Phase 2, it gets higher. We got Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, right? Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man, okay? And with phase 2, they average 878 million, almost 879 million per flick. Okay? Now we keep going. Phase 3. This is where Marvel hits its stride. And this is where I think the Mandela effect comes into play. Okay? Because phase 3 was banger after banger after banger after banger. Cap Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home. That was phase 3. Right? And they just blew it up. Okay? It was huge. Huge. Okay? Because you had, 6 movies in phase 3 that did more than $1 billion, including Captain Marvel. Right? Phase 4. Now here's the thing, and this is the thing that I want people to think about from the business of this thing. You weren't going to redo phase 3 and phase 4. Okay? Like, you hit such a stride in phase 3 that anything was going to be a letdown after phase 4 or after phase 3. It just was. So you had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, which I think Marvel really counts as its first financial flop because the budget was massive on the Eternals and it did not do well in the box office. Only 402 million. Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That's all your phase 4 movies. $815 million per film. Okay? And then we get into phase 5, which is the one that everybody kind of blurs on, right? Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Guardians 3, right? The Marvels, which did flop, it was their second real flop. Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America Brave New World, and Thunderbolts. They're still averaging in that phase $610 million per film, right? That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Is it a step down? Absolutely. Is Marvel worried about it? No. No, they're not. Not really. And now you've got the start of phase 6, which started with Fantastic Four New Steps. I have got this highlighted at 491 million because it's not out of theaters yet. Right? So as of yesterday, it was at 491 million, 904, 286. I think it's going to break 500, right? By the time it leaves its theatrical run. Yeah. So, for every film that they have made, they have gotten a total box office of 32 billion 475 million 550,762 dollars in 37 movies. Okay, 32 billion dollars. That is an average of 877 million 717,588 dollars per movie. Okay, which brings me to kind of my greater point. Okay, which is this: Marvel is arguably the most successful film franchise that's ever been done. They're 37 movies in and they've made $32 billion, right? No, but I cannot think of a scenario of anybody who's going to make that kind of a franchise run that Kevin Feige did and is still doing, right? Like, it's not that. Now, before chat hits me, because I knew somebody in chat was going to go, what about Star Wars? Okay. Star Wars is the movie that Star Wars is the franchise that you could argue has done better financially, right? Looking at the 11 wide release Star Wars movies that have been released, there's 11 movies. They've grossed $10.3 billion for an average of $940 million per movie. Okay? You can make an argument for Star Wars, right? But you can make an argument for Star Wars, but they don't have the track run of 37 films that Marvel has. And Star Wars has been around since 1977. The MCU started in 2008. Okay? In 17 years, they've made $32 billion. So what's that, about $1.8 billion a year in revenue? So that's where I want to kick it over to you, Jay, right? And ask, when I break it down this way, and based on kind of a lot of the commentary we've heard and things like that, what does this make you think about this? As far as franchises go, putting your MBA, working on MBA hat on.
Well, I would say, um, I think it would be, I think it'd be a little unfair only to look at movies, because I will say I do remember Star Wars when I was a kid and episode 1, 2, 3 came out. There was so much merch that came along with it, like Star Wars Pepsi cans that people still have, by the way. Star Wars everything. Um, so much Star Wars. So I think Star Wars also brought in a lot of merch. Um, Star Wars also has this like never-ending spin-off TV series going on right now, both animated and live action.
So is
But
MCU.
looking just at movies, I would say Star Wars should be doing better with less movies, because they did start in 1977. And what you're going to run into is now you're going to have parents taking their children to go see Star Wars. So you have that kind of already that like nostalgic, like, oh, like I grew up watching Star Wars. I want to take my kids to watch Star Wars. Marvel coming out, what, 2010, you said?
8.
Don't super have that, or it's not well established yet, I would say. Here soon, I think it'll start kicking in, but yeah, that's my thought.
Okay. So I'm going to address a couple of things in the chat really quick. People who are asking questions that are tangential to this. All right, Superman, which again has not finished its theatrical run, you can still see it in theaters. As of today, is at 606 million, 658, 792 worldwide. So it's well into profitability. It's about 60 million over where it needed to be profitability wise. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago. It's doing fine for a brand new DCU where the DCEU ran the franchise into the fucking dirt, right? And you've got to build back a lot of goodwill from the audience. Superman did better than it needed to do that. It's a very good start for the DCU. Very good start. To answer another question, people were talking about adjusting for inflation. I used to think of it that way, and then I hit again. I talk about this podcast a lot. Mr. John Campia, he does a really good editorial on why he doesn't use adjusted for inflation, and I agree with it. Right. So for the longer version of what I'm about to say, go watch his editorial on this. But the fact of the matter is the reason it's hard to do adjust for inflation is this. If you look at adjusted for inflation, people talk about Gone with the Wind, right? Okay. How long was Gone with the Wind in theaters?
Probably like 36 years, right? It was like the only movie.
2.5 years. It was in theaters for 2.5 years. Nothing's in theaters for 2.5 years. Who knows how much money can be made? And what that brings about is this. At various iterations of time, where people spent money and where people spent their entertainment hours varied heavily. Okay. Movies now are not just competing with other movies. It's not like the 1990s when episode 1 came out, where everybody had a smartphone in their pocket and they could spend their time watching Netflix, YouTube, and not leave the fucking house, right? In a post-COVID era, with the cost of movie tickets these days and the number of tickets that are sold, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, trying to figure out all the various economic factors that go into should we adjust this for inflation? And again, if Gone with the Wind came out today, would it sell as many tickets as it did in the 1930s when it came out? And I have to say the answer is probably no, right? So that's why using just the raw box office numbers is still probably just the best metric to use. The other question is, do they do well in the theater? Take the Star Wars sequels, because everyone goes to a movie like that hoping to do something good. So here's the thing, and this is, you could pretty well bear this out. If people don't like a movie, they don't go back, and movies people don't go back to don't make billions, right? You can say, rightfully, that the fandom, as we move through the sequel trilogy, it lost steam. Okay, Force Awakens did 2 billion plus. Episode 8 only did 1.3 billion. Episode 9 only did 1 billion. And so they went down as it went. So again, it's Star Wars, so it's cultural, so everybody's gonna go see it. But you see it with episode 7. Everybody went back and back and back and back and back to see episode 7. Whereas you didn't get that kind of run back with episode 8 and 9. It was one of those where just everybody fucking saw it. So that's where I would break that down. There's also, somebody else brought this in. There's a fewer second run theaters. I don't know if you remember this from when you were a kid, Jay, but I know it was a thing when I was a kid where you had primary run theaters where they did their first part of their theatrical run, and then second run theaters where after they left the primary, there was still time to go see them in theaters, at kind of budget theaters, right? Those don't really exist anymore. They're gone. Those businesses just don't happen.
Well, it also just doesn't make sense because now we now you can get movies to streaming services as well as out on Blu-ray or whatever a lot quicker
Mm-hmm.
than those. I think that's why that kind of the cheaper market kind of for moviegoers kind of existed, because there was such a long period before they would come out on VHS.
6 months on average.
Oh,
And that's the other thing is a lot of the movie studios now Disney I think has learned from this. You saw it last year, right? Where they started extending their theatrical runs again and going, look, we're not putting this on Disney Plus. Thunderbolts just got to Disney Plus, I think this week, right? And they have really extended their theatrical windows, and I think that that's good because a lot of the studios have trained the audience. I'll just wait till it comes to streaming in 2 months, which I think is one of the reasons why the raw number of tickets go down, right? And yeah, movie theaters these days are a real hard proposition. When the cost of tickets is half the cost of owning the movie, I'd rather just wait and buy the movie. And I think that that's a lot of people's attitude now. And I think that's why you're seeing certain movies flop, right? Where unless it's like an event movie, not as many people are going, right? I've seen a lot of good movies in the theaters. We've talked about this a bunch this year that were great movies that fucking nobody saw. That sucks. So, but what would you argue? Do you think that what Feige has done with Marvel can be replicated?
can be replicated.
Mm-hmm. 37 movies, averaging almost $1 billion a movie, almost 900 million. Let's be fair.
I think it. I personally think it could, but I don't think anyone is going to have the drive to do it, to be honest, because to go through that many movies, I mean, keep in mind, a lot of people like to kind of come in, get their success off of one project or maybe a couple of projects, they move on to something else. And you need some sort of consistency. And I think that's kind of what DC has kind of really struggled with. Um, but yeah, I think it could be done. I don't think anyone actually wants to put in the work to do it, though. That makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense. And again, that's why, again, I could say you could arguably say that the MCU is the most successful franchise of all time. Right? It just is. And anybody who thinks that you know, the other thing I wanted to break down on this, and this is again why I think it is, let's look at what's coming. All right, Phase 6. Okay. We have Fantastic Four First Steps, which is out, right? The next movie is Spider-Man Brand New Day. Does anybody think that movie's not going to make $1 billion? Avengers Doomsday. So far, an Avengers movie has never not made $1 billion. Okay. Marvel has a hold spot on a movie, on a film next July that nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows if it's a hold spot or what they're doing. I suspect it's Doctor Strange 3, right? And it's going to come out between Doomsday and Secret Wars, much like Ant-Man and the Wasp came out between Infinity War and Endgame and introduced the quantum tunnel and the quantum realm and all the shit they needed for Endgame. Um, I think it's the next Doctor Strange, but again, and do you think Avengers Secret Wars is not going to make $1 billion? Okay. They're going to average more than $1 billion in Phase 6 per movie. Okay. He's going to be up right around 40 billion by the time he gets to the end of Phase 6. So yeah. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think it's the most successful franchise of all time? Or what do you guys think? Let us know. All right, I'm going to address a couple of these real quick. My guess, Agatha Harkness film. Never going to happen. Never going to happen.
I like that though.
They learned their lesson. Unfortunate, and it's a bad lesson. They learned their lesson from the Marvels. The Marvels did not deserve to make as little as it did. That was a fun movie, and Miss Marvel is awesome. Amon Vellani's Miss Marvel is great. It's a fun movie, and it did not deserve to flop the way it did, but it did because the two characters besides Captain Marvel were from Disney Plus shows.
Yep.
So, Agatha Harkness film? No. Nope. Not happening. Uh, Dare I Dream of Luke Cage on the silver screen? That's a maybe. Maybe. I just don't know.
Actually, probably has a board game though. Could have a board game.
There was a credible rumor that came out last night that he's going to be in Daredevil Born Again season 2. Him and Finn Jones. I hope it's true.
Yeah.
I love Mike Coulter's Luke Cage. I loved Luke Cage. I think he's a great actor. I think he's a great character. Doomsday having RDJ back will make $1 billion easy. Yep. Oh God, do I want Star Wars Starfighter to be good in 2 years? I just want them to make the fucking movie. Can we just make another Star Wars movie?
Yep.
Okay. They should make Star Wars What If. They have in comic book form. It's not very good. Yeah, Mandalorian Grogu is supposedly almost done. It's slated to come out next year. I don't know how well it's going to do. Tough to say. Hopefully, because it's Star Wars, it'll do well for them. But again, you're taking a Disney Plus show and putting it on a movie theater. Now, it's got Baby Yoda. So, what do you think?
I will say, going back to Star Wars Starfighter, 12 hours ago, StarWars.com says Lucasfilm announces casting for Star Wars Starfighter.
Mm-hmm.
So
Amy Adams and somebody else.
Does look like it's moving, but still has a long way to go.
When I see them start filming, I'll believe it. I'll believe it's coming out when it actually starts. They've announced and canceled so many movies.
Fair.
YouTube chat says, I want more Loki too. He's going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think he's going to be the linchpin of it because of where we left Loki. Him holding the fucking multiverse together with his bare hands. Right? Remember at the end of Loki season 2? He's holding together all of the timelines by himself sitting on a throne. I think that he's one of the MacGuffins of Doomsday. I truly believe that too. Okay. There you go. Jay, we have more stuff to talk about.
Yeah. What do you want to cover?
Well, I mean, you've got something right here in order.
Yes, we do.
It's your go.
Okay. All right. So anyways, last week we kind of ended the show with a huge cliffhanger, and yeah, that's it. Any questions? No, kidding. Okay, so yeah, last week there was a question, asking what are our genders, and we stated them. Some people had some questions, and we didn't really answer that. We just kind of like dropped it. We were like, tune in next week, have fun, bye. Which Dog Dad has pointed out in chat already. Hey, I thought we were going to talk about this. We were just waiting for more people to kind of come in, because right around this time I think is like kind of when we peak on Twitch and YouTube and stuff. So anyways, yeah. So I think a lot of people were kind of shocked, I guess, when I said like, yeah, my pronouns are they them, especially since for the majority of this show, yeah, I had a pretty big beard, and I was, as Alex put it, a pretty big guy.
I think the beard thing was the first thing that really shocked them.
I think that
The
was,
bird,
yeah.
the beard. To be fair, the first week that you had shaved the beard, that was where everybody went, huh? What's up?
Yeah. And I even had at work the director of marketing um say, "Oh my gosh, you shaved your beard. That is pretty much your brand." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "And I know you're in MBA school, and changing your brand can be kind of a hard thing to do." And also, not getting on a tangent here, but if you look at how Cracker Barrel tried to change their brand, it didn't really work out. They lost over $100 million very quickly.
Nice segue
And
by the way.
that's a crazy story that I can't wait to talk about in probably like my next MBA class. But because I know that's going to come up. Yeah. So David, where did that come from? Well, pretty much. Um, Alex is really pushing for 5,000 subs on YouTube, and he said the only way we're going to get there is if it's not two guys on this podcast. So here we are.
I had nothing to do with this.
I'm kidding. That was a joke. Um, but yeah, so long story short, I am just exploring my gender, which a lot of people probably are not going to understand that. Like, what does that mean? And honestly, like, I don't even know fully what that means. I have been asked why now. You're in your like mid 30s. Why are you exploring your gender now? Typically, that's something that happens like in your 20s. Um, and the easy answer here is, yeah, I grew up in Florida. So when my doctor literally asked my doctor, and this was probably the most uncomfortable thing I have so far went through. And my doctor asked, why now? Um, but as soon as I said, well, I'm from Florida and I just recently moved to the Seattle area, he literally was like, oh yeah, okay, never mind. That makes sense. Growing up in Northwest Florida, you don't really explore things like this. Some people do. I had a few of my friends go through this, and it did not go well for them. They were bullied. They were harassed. They were disowned. They were kicked out of their houses. And then they finally left Florida to come to. A few of them came to the promised land of Seattle. That's kind of what put Seattle a little bit on the map. But then also just traveling in general. My wife and I came out here, I believe 3 times on vacation before we decided to move. But yeah, it's exploring my gender. I can say, first of all, Alex, do you have any questions so far, or are there any questions in chat that you want to ask?
Mostly, I'm seeing a lot of support in chat. A lot of people are saying, I'll read off. Your journey is your journey, Jay. Quest bravely, venture boldly. Tip says they figured you were in self-discovery mode, which I don't think is a bad way to put it. Somebody else in YouTube chat said, facial hair is a bra for your jaw. Feels great to whip it off, which I loved. That was a good one. Um, Mostly again the beard was the shocking part. So far again a lot of support coming out of the chat.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Um, so yeah, growing up, um, I can say this. So my mother passed away 3 years ago. I grew up with my father. My father had a complete 100% custody of me when I was in, I don't know, elementary school. I was there around like the third grade. Um, just before my mother passed away, she felt so horrible And she told me, she was like, I feel really bad. I feel like I left you. Um, and I knew how your father was, um, and how he could be very abusive. Um, and she was like, when you were a kid, I thought we had hung out too much. So supposedly my mother would dress me up as a girl, put makeup on me. And I wanted to do girl things when I was a kid. Um, so she was like, we thought you were gay as a child. But this was this is kind of funny, but also really not. She was, I think you playing soccer and then you going to church really helped you and you became like the man you are today. And that was like a huge knife into my side. I was like, oh crap. Because I do remember in elementary school, I made the mistake of asking, there was like some sort of, I don't know, some sort of like limited edition doll, and I asked for it for Christmas, and it did not go over well. Let's just say that. And growing up with my father, so I will say I come from a military family without being a military family, if that makes sense. So my father wasn't in the military by the time I was born, but both my grandparents were in the military. One side was a Marine, one side was a Ranger in World War II. My father was in the Army, and then my father became a police officer in Detroit during the 70s, and then moved down to Florida and had me. So there was this, my father also comes from the farm kind of lifestyle. So my father raised me how he thought I should be raised. Um, I think he saw a couple of things. I think he saw a kid that was more like my mother than him, and he did not like that. And also, I think he saw a kid that growing up, I was always really small. And you could yell at me and I would just cry. So he saw like kind of a weak kid that needed to be toughened up if I was going to go out into the world. Um, so yeah, and that's what he kind of set out to do. So if I got in trouble for something stupid, like if I made a bad grade in a class, I would be punished for that physically. Um, and then once he was done, he would say, okay, now I'm going to punish you for crying. So I grew up really quickly learning not to be myself. If I was going to survive, I had to be who my dad wanted me to be, and I had to be who everyone else wanted me to be. This worked out really, really great growing up. I became very popular, had a lot of friends. Um, Even when I graduated, I was able to get a job, move up really quickly. Because if you work for like a corporation and you say I'll be whoever you want me to be, and I'll work however many hours a week you want me to work, you're gonna move up. Um, yeah, and you're reinforced, right? I mean, I went from living in a trailer, growing up in a trailer, growing up homeless, to then all of a sudden buying a house at the age of 21. Um, you get all of these things. You buy the nice car that you want to get. You buy all the things you want to get. Um, you you do all the things that you're supposed to do. You go out, you get married, you get a fancy engineering degree. Um, but no matter what you do, you're never really truly happy. Um, and I think a couple of things happened. One, my entire family like passed away. So my father passed away, my mother passed away, um, and then we left Florida. And I think once I got into a safe environment where people asked me, like, I'm not going to tell you who you are. Like, I want to know who you are. And once I started, kind of being involved with like LGBT councils and stuff like that, I started opening up a little bit more and obviously going through a lot of therapy. Um, I decided to start exploring my gender that I didn't really have the courage to when I was younger. So I'm going to pause there. Alex, what do you think?
I mean, this obviously this is not about me, right? For everybody knows, I have known about this for a little while, not like forever, but for a little while. Um, let me let me chime back in with some chat stuff for you though. Um, somebody in chat said they hope they're not out of line, but your dad sounds like an asshole. Um, you know, somebody said they're glad you got out of Florida. It won't be safe until Miami like breaks off to the Caribbean and everyone north of Miami-Dade and Broward counties runs like is gone, migrates north. Semi-serious question: did the movie Fight Club speak to you? Right.
I've always really liked Fight Club. I'm kind of curious, like why, why the question?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that movie. I've seen it probably like 100 times.
I mean, I was gonna make a comment that I'm gonna backtrack that one. Joke there, but I'm leaving that one. Hooray therapy, fantasy football for your feelings. I like that one. That's a good one. Um, yeah. So again, a lot of support coming from our chat. Thank you, chat, for being so supportive and understanding of this. It's again we've been kind of mulling this one for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks now about when to talk about it. And then somebody asked last week in the chat what Jay's pronouns were. And Jay, just to clarify, because I don't think we've kind of put a hard button on that, and somebody else did ask in the chat. Are we sticking with they them for now?
Yeah, so they them. I've been asked a lot of like, oh, do you think you're like non-binary? Do you think you're trans? Do you think you're gender fluid? And I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. So I'm just sticking with they them for now. And I will say, I changed it at work. So my work is they're a huge advocate for like pronouns, putting your pronouns in your email signature, stuff like that. So I sent an email to the kind of a group of people I work with the closest, letting them know that I was changing my pronouns to they, them. Very, very brief reasoning why. Nothing this detailed. And I primarily did that because I like to joke around a lot. Um, I'm always like, I don't know, the one that's making jokes, laughing, having a good time. And I didn't want to do something like wear more feminine clothing to work and then someone think it's a joke and like, oh, haha, look at Jay, like that's so funny. And it's like, no, not a joke. Primarily for kind of to notify everyone like, hey, this isn't a joke, like I'm going through this like kind of exploring phase, which everyone at work was super supportive. I really work at like a amazing place with amazing people. um but yeah, they them for now. I'm still going through therapy, obviously, and I have been now for God, I think like 4 years now, every Friday. But yeah, so I don't know where it'll go, but yeah, they them for now.
Adding to the question that you asked about why I asked about Fight Club, the response was there's a part where Tyler Durden talks about his dad's advice. His dad said, go to college. Okay, been to college. Now what? Get a career. Okay, got a career. Now what? Get married. Okay, now what? what you were saying earlier in your talk here apparently made them think of that. So that makes sense. Okay, I see the parallel now, chat. Um,
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that does make sense. And yeah, again, I think it was you're kind of taught like, oh, if you do this, you'll be happy, right? Like if you buy a house, you'll be happy. If you get that promotion, you'll be happy. If you get a, I don't know, a harder degree, right? Like an engineering degree, you're gonna get a nice job. You're gonna be happy. Well, maybe if you move out of Florida, you're going to be happy. Um, and that's not really the case. And that was like one thing that I first started going to therapy for was like, I feel like I'm just going to the next milestone. Like, okay, like now what do I need to do? Like, I'm not happy. What do I need to do now? Is it getting my master's? Will that make me happy? Will I get, if I get my PhD, will I be happy? If I move up in the company that I'm currently at, will I be happy? So you keep looking externally for things that'll make you happy. And yeah, I realized very quickly that I was getting worn out. I was getting worn out. And physically, like my health is kind of like, I don't want to say like declining, right? But like I am the most out of shape I am now than I ever been in my life. So I'm like 6'1", right? I used to be like 140 pounds, which is way too skinny. But now I'm like 240, which is a lot more. I will say I was on the soccer team and I ran track. So oddly enough, when you stop running like 10 miles a day, you're going to start gaining weight. But um, yeah, I just kind of and then I think also the thing that really hit me out here really hard when I first moved out here, because we moved into our place Halloween 2021. 2021 was a very tough gray period. Our neighbors told us like, oh, that was a very abnormal, like more gray than usual. I did not know you're supposed to take like vitamin D supplements. And from Florida, what the heck are vitamin D supplements? Um, so I became very depressed pretty quickly. Um, Part of it seasonal depression, part of it also just not really knowing what I'm supposed to do with my life, right? Um, and yeah, I think I reached a moment where I was like, something has to change, right? Like I don't think I can keep going on the way that I'm currently going on. Like oddly enough, I'm going to therapy, which I couldn't really do um when like when my dad, for instance, was alive. And again, if you've never lived in the South is like the polar opposite of the Pacific Northwest. Um, no one talks about mental health. You're not supposed to talk about mental health. Like my father, I grew up listening to my father make fun of people who went to therapy. It's a waste of money, blah blah blah. Um, yeah, you don't places that you work at, they don't have mental health programs. They don't talk about it. You're not supposed to be yourself at work either. Like you show up to be the person that they want you. Like you show up and you become the person that they want you to be. And then when you leave work, you can be your own person. Polar opposite from but the Pacific Northwest from what I've experienced so far. So yeah, I was able to kind of get into therapy, but the more therapy I had, I felt like I was getting like more and more depressed. So I realized like something had to change. Like I need to kind of figure out who I am if I'm ever going to be happy. Um, so yeah, Florida sucks. And I know some of you are probably wondering, So I have mentioned that I'm married. I do have a wife. Like, what does all of this mean to her? I will say somehow, right? Somehow I have found an amazing person. I'm, and we've talked obviously a lot, and she was like, you deserve to be happy. Um, Even if you transitioned, right? Even if you started growing boobs, and she was like, I would prefer you not to, right? Like, I'm not like attracted to women, but even if you grew boobs, um, I'm not going anywhere. Like, you're still the same person I fell in love with. You're still the same person I love. It might be a little awkward when we lean in and kiss each other and I feel boobs press against me, but I'm not going anywhere. So I was like, okay, which obviously, if you come out to your wife, and you're having these thoughts, I was kind of prepared for like a divorce. And I try to make sure that like I would understand. Like, I try to make sure that she understood that I understood. Like, hey, totally get this. Like, if you're not into this, if you want to leave, that's fine. We can still be friends, everything like that. Like, I don't want to make you feel like you're trapped in this at all. But no, she's been super supportive. Everyone has been super supportive, which is kind of surprising. I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting career was over at work. I'm gonna lose all my friends. I'm gonna get a divorce. I'm gonna become homeless in Seattle. Like, boom, whole life changes. And I think that's a lot of one coming from Florida, but then also like the fears of like just thinking about everything for, your entire life. You kind of think things are going to go one way, and you're often that's not the case. So that is good. What is Alex, what's chat saying now?
Mostly that Florida sucks. Yeah, mostly Florida sucks. There's a lot of Florida sucks in the chat, which I can't I can't rightly disagree with. Florida kind of sucks, and we don't like it because it's Florida and fuck Florida. I don't go to Florida for a reason. I've been to Florida. Um, I have no desire to go back to Florida at this current point in time, for many many reasons. But yeah, it's a lot right now. We're a lot of Florida sucks again. Um, a lot of people are kind of like echoing your thing about self fulfillment, right? And oh, this thing's gonna make you happy. What's gonna make you happy? Um, a lot of people happy for you, and again, it's a lot of I think a lot of understanding. Um, I think that there are a lot. I think that the number of people, whether and it's not always necessarily sexuality, but I think that the number of people who at varying times in their lives, for whatever reason, struggle with a sense of identity, right? And I think that that's most we focus on it a lot these days when it comes to gender identity and sexual identity and things like that. But I don't think that that's the only place it stems from. And I think we would have a lot more understanding for people in the LGBTQ plus community if we frame it more from a position of everybody kind of struggles with identity. Like, who the fuck am I, right? Like as a core thing. And for some people that's sexuality, for some it's gender, for some it's something else. So again, I think there's a lot of people who, whether they've done it in the form of sexuality or gender identity, and I'm not speaking for anybody in the chat, I think there's a lot of people who are going, yeah, I don't I've gone through points in my life where I did not feel that sense of I feel comfortable in my own skin with who I am, right? And I think a lot of people go through that, and I think that that's why again I think we're getting some of the reaction that we're getting from chat. Again, I think it's a lot of understanding. Again, I think that the way that you put it is really really good. I think that a lot and you and I think had this discussion a while ago, where my theory has always been a lot of it is exposure, and a lot of it is how you're introduced to the LGBTQ plus community, right? And that manner in which you are first, because I think I told you about the first time like I knew that I was around trans people and the environment that I was in and how that came to be. made it a lot easier for me to be like, oh, okay, this is fine, this is normal. Like, yeah, cool, great. And I could get myself into that frame of mind and not look back. And I think that again, I think that stories like yours, situations like this, where you can draw those parallels and explain it, I think puts it into a perspective for people that again I don't think happens enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it totally does. And that's the really sad reality of Florida is that you have all these people that are going through, like, when you grow up in a place like Northwest Florida,
Which is
you
really just
think
the South.
it's the South, yeah. In the South, you think you're like the only one going through it. You think you're the only weirdo, right? Like that's feeling this way or going through this. When you're really not. Like I yeah, it's kind of crazy. There was a study that came out when I was in engineering school at FSU. Um I think it was something like 50% of all engineering students were like depressed. And then like a lower number was like suicidal. Um which is crazy because no one talks about it. Like no one talks about it. And I started advocating for mental health when I was at FSU. I got out of Florida pretty much as soon as I graduated from engineering school from FSU. And I remember my best friend in college, um, insanely smart guy, um, finished like magna cum laude. If I said that right, but yeah, incredibly smart. My best friend. I I told him like what I was not gender, but I told him like how depressed I was, and he was like, "Holy crap, dude! Like you, like no one would ever think that you're going through anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're like the happiest guy. Like you're the guy that everyone looks to and they're like, Jay has it figured out. Jay is like he's on a path, he's on a war path. He is happy. He is the one that's always like laughing and joking. He's like uplifting everyone else. And like I'll never forget it. He made a parallel between myself and Robin Williams, and I don't want to compare myself to him at all, Jesus, but because I think he's an amazing person. But he was like, "You're like the person that makes everyone else laugh and feel happy and like at ease, and then you're like super depressed and like struggling with like suicidal thoughts, and like no one knows it." And I think this is a really sad thing for Florida that I'm really sad about is that everyone that could really make a change in Florida, everyone that could change Florida, whether it be like mental health, whether it be LGBT, whatever, um, they leave Florida. Like no one is that I saw, me
I
personally,
I don't think
in my
that's just a Florida problem. I think that's anywhere that's of that similar cultural thing, right? And they talk about like rural brain drain and kids not going back to rural communities all over the country, and I think that's definitely why that happens. Um, and I'll be honest, I don't know what the solution there is. I really don't. I have no idea. Um, anyway, I think
yeah.
if we
Unfortunately, I don't think it'll ever change with everyone leaving,
mm-mm.
but also I don't blame anyone for leaving. Like you need to be happy.
uh,
Um, but
yeah,
yeah,
what's
that is that is my story. That is the very long explanation of my pronouns.
um with that, somebody says they like the alien solution, so let's just nuke it from orbit. Sure, I'm fine with that. Um, I keep saying I would sell Texas back to Mexico. Fuck it. All right. Real quick, we're actually at that point in the show where I go to the audience and I say, hey, chat, if you got any questions or anything you saw in the news this week. I know I saw a couple people toss in little stuff that we've already addressed, but if you saw any news stories about gaming or movies or anything like that, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll try and hit those at this point in the show. Thank everybody for sticking around tonight. I hope you guys are having a good time. To address something, Jay and I talked about the thing that happened in Minneapolis yesterday. I'm gonna sum it up this way. I am so over the cycle of mass shooting, thoughts and prayers, blame it on a thing, move on, that I don't even want to cover it because nothing's gonna change. How badly is Georgia screwed? Oh, that's actually a good topic, and I wish we had more time. And I may go back and do this as a full topic later. Let me double check something. Oh, somebody put this in here. I want to see. I haven't had a chance to look at this article yet, but let me take a look. Oh, that's cool. Okay. I'm gonna come back to that something. I'm not gonna speak to their ethnicity, gender identity. There's a lot of. I don't think we know enough right now. I believe they were white. There is some reporting that they are trans. I am not certain. Am I ready for PAX West again? I'm not planning on going this year. Barring something weird that happens this weekend, I'm not going. How badly is Georgia screwed with Marvel moving to England for filming? It's not just Marvel. Bad. It's actually really bad. Georgia was really getting a lot of economic activity from a lot of the movies that were moving from California to Georgia to film. Marvel picking up its entire operation and moving to England, and they're not the only one. It's really hurting Georgia. There's a lot of discussions about why, right? I've seen a lot of the economic data as to why, right? It's also not surprising, right? Why do they move? Money. Okay, look, film studios move for one reason. Money. There is a game show, and it's the one that Rob Lowe hosts. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example. It is cheaper for them to fly American contestants to Prague than film it in Los Angeles. Okay? It's fucking money, right? One of the best arguments I saw about this was this, and this was something that got brought up in one of the Variety articles. What is the thing that England has that US doesn't? In terms of public policy. I'm going to get to the specifics here in a second because this is interesting. And I didn't think about it until somebody brought this up in the Variety article.
Free healthcare?
Bingo! You hit it at the same time chat did. Publicly funded healthcare. If they are filming in the US, whether it's in LA or Georgia or anything like that, and you're the employer, you got to cover the healthcare costs. Do you know what they do not pay for in England for any of their crew? Healthcare. Which is a huge, as somebody who employs people, it's a huge cost. In fact, when I was a small business owner, one of the things I used to say is, and this is something the business community does not want to hear, and so business community, I want you to listen to me, business community. The biggest boon you could give to small business to make them competitive in the job market is socialized medicine. If you charged every business a 5% tax on their profit, it would still be cheaper than having them pay for healthcare. And it would level the playing field for qualified talent in the United States of America, because employers would no longer be responsible for paying for healthcare. And it wouldn't be a benefit factor that determines where somebody goes to work. You want to help small business in this country? You want to really help small business? take healthcare out of the equation for hiring talented people. Okay? Full stop. It would do so much to help small business in this country, and nobody wants to fucking hear it. And it irritates the piss out of me. Okay? All you people, like, they're so short-sighted. But yeah, so publicly funded healthcare, it's a huge cost to the studios. They don't got to pay when they're in England. Okay? They just don't. Okay? Another thing, it's tax credits. And actually, California just instituted a whole bunch of new tax credits. So now there's a bunch of productions moving back to California because California redid the numbers over there and changed specifically for indie films too, so they can make it cheaper for films to film back in California again. Georgia did end some of the film subsidies. There was also some culture stuff, right? Multiple studios went to Georgia and were like, dude, these abortion bans and this other stuff, it's not making it easy for us to bring talent because they don't want to go to your state. Okay. Same shit happened in Indianapolis when they tried to pass their bathroom bill and it had to get overturned really fast because the NCAA said, sorry, we can't have the Final Four there anymore. We're done. Okay. Because we can't bring some of our employees. Okay. You've now made it to where our employees are risking arrest for doing things in your state. So now we're not going to do it anymore. Georgia, again, yes, they're losing massive amounts of film production. And again, it was a burgeoning, huge industry for about 10 years in Georgia. It was growing. They were building these massive studios, and it's terrible. Somebody's saying Grimm was filmed in Portland because Seattle was out of budget. Seattle is notoriously expensive to film in. Notoriously expensive. Most shows and movies set in Seattle film in Vancouver, British Columbia. Okay? Because it's cheaper. And ultimately these are businesses. But yeah, that's why they're moving out of Georgia. It's just cheaper and it's easier for them to film in England. And I don't know what Georgia is gonna do about that specifically. It's tough to say. Georgia's a weird state, right? It's been trying to go blue for a little while, and I think it's still edging that way. I think a lot of that had to do with the film industry moving there. Because Lord knows the film industry, notoriously conservative, right? So take that for what it's worth. Other short one here. Rogers Media in Canada is putting Netflix, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus as a bundle for $16 a month. That's a good deal.
It says like there's a catch though. What's the catch?
I'm trying to figure out what the catch is.
Dog Dad, do you know what the catch is?
I think you have to be a subscriber to their cable thing. Yeah, basically it's only for their cable subscribers to keep people in their ecosystem. Can I get that with a VPN? No, because it's, again, I think I'm pretty sure it's for their cable subscribers. That's just what I'm understanding. Apparently Bell Media already did it. That's a good deal. I would totally. I'm still on that. Like, we actually were looking at our streaming stuff, and I was like, I got too many fucking streamers right now. It's ridiculous. It's bad. Too much. Rogers is the Comcast of Canada. Okay. What if somebody posted in here? I can't see. Somebody posted something in there, and I can't tell what that emoji is or that GIF. I am something. I can't tell. I can't tell. Sorry.
What are you looking at?
Something in the chat about 4 Up. I can't tell what that picture is. And somebody said, didn't get to watch it yet. Saw the video right before it went live. Oh, that's for Campia's thing. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. All right, chat. Any more fun topics for us? Yeah. Let's see here. Fantastic Four made another $1 million yesterday. They're at 492, 436. Yeah, I think they're gonna break 500 million before they leave theaters. Such a good movie.
It is.
I
Great
dropped
movie.
Peacock and Paramount. There's so many. I think I'm close on Paramount Plus. I would get rid of Netflix, but my kid watches it too much. Seriously, like she watches more Netflix than me. Um,
Oh, you know what I just started watching that is a really great show? It's on Apple TV.
what's that?
I want to like double check the name of this. Hang on one second. Uh,
If you say found,
Chief of War. So Chief of War just came
oh
out.
yeah, that's that Jason Momoa one. It's on my list of stuff to watch.
It is good.
Um,
Watch.
I've heard it's very good. It's on my list of stuff to watch, but it feels like something that I have to be like in the right mood because it feels heavy.
And in the beginning, you're going to have to read a lot. I think
I
for the
don't. It's
first
fine with me.
two,
I'm good with that.
the first two episodes,
I
it's all in
watched
like
Shogun.
okay. Yeah,
Shogun.
okay.
Shogun was great.
I
Um,
love good. Yeah.
With Saints Row is done this week. I'll binge it for free week on Prime. Um, Original or new Shogun? Both. I watched the original Shogun and the new Shogun, and I think they're both great for different ways. The new one is so good. Somebody's saying they've already watched the old one, but not the new one. I'll tell you right now, that is peak fucking television right there. Is the new Shogun. Um, it was so good. It deserved the massive amount of award accolades. Oh, that actually brings me to another one. Jay, did you watch The Pit?
No, because my wife's an ICU nurse, and she was like, "I will not watch that."
Okay, you need to watch The Pit. But here's the thing I like about The Pit. The Pit's got the right idea for production. Okay, The Pit came out this May. Do you know what they released the other day? A trailer for season 2. Do you know what they're doing as a streaming show? Not waiting 4 years for season 2. Okay, old school freaking TV. We could have a season a year. We know how to do it. They were doing it for decades. And you know what The Pit is doing? Another season. Less than a year after the first one came out. Right? Yeah, dude. The Pit was so it's gonna win all the awards this year. I know everybody wants what was it called? Andor to win. Look, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I think Andor is going to get screwed because it released in the same award season as The Pit. The Pit was just too fucking good.
Did you ever finish Andor?
No, but I'm sorry. I've got enough of it. Peacemaker season 2. Yeah, Alien Earth. I'm gonna sit down and watch Alien Earth soon. I've heard it's good. I also need to sit down and watch Monarch. I haven't finished. We tried the morning show and that didn't work out well. I didn't like that immediately. As much as I love the cast, I was like, ooh, like this just feels icky. Icky. Fuck The Pit and or all the way. Look, award shows have a thing against genre television. And Andor got a lot of good nominations, but it's not going to beat The Pit. It's just not. I'm sorry. It's just not. All right, there, chat. Yeah, like I said, chat, and we got some new folks in chat now. I see some people popping into my streaming numbers. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, any more stuff you want us to talk about, yeah, please throw it down there in the chat. See, somebody in the chat agrees with me. If I had to compare Andor season 2 to Pit season 1, I'd pick The Pit. To be honest, yeah, it just I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they fucking did it, but they really. And again, release a season a year. A season a year. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, I promise you guys, television people know how to do this. Right? They used to release 22 episodes a season, take a 3-month break, and then do 22 more. Right?
Yeah.
You know. But man, The Pit is just medical trauma dumping, kinda. Yeah. Much like The Bear's hospitality trauma dumping. I'm still mad at The Bear when it comes to award season. I'm sorry, The Bear's not a comedy. How the fuck you guys keep submitting it to be a comedy, and how the Emmys let you make that a fucking comedy? It's not a comedy. It's got funny parts, but it's not a fucking comedy. Okay? Only Murders in the Building is a comedy. Okay? Which is also a funny show. Um,
Oh no.
yeah, we're not going to talk about that one because I don't want to get demonetized on YouTube later. And YouTube already gets mad at us for some of our uh, topics, right? Like you should see some of the times we try and roll into promotion. YouTube gets, Jay will tell you, YouTube has gotten cranky with us about, no, you're not putting this on your promo like line. Like, no, it's not happening. We won't make you take the video down, but yeah. Yeah. I appreciate it, Dog Dad, and somebody's gonna see that in the chat thingy, but again, I'm not gonna touch that one. We can have that conversation sometime in person. Anyway, point is, yeah, give us some other topics there. We got probably about 8 or 9 more minutes. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, we can go for another 3 hours.
No, wish. Yeah, yes, very many jokes are running. Thank you, chat. And the weird thing is again, it will analyze what we're talking about, not what it sees in the little chat dealy bobs. It always analyzes our voice when it goes through and does the copyright check, which is always the audio. We've had it a couple times. Yeah, I love you guys, but I can't do 3 more hours on stream. That's rough. Let me do a couple of these little ones. Jay, what comic did you buy just to look cool but never actually read?
Oh God, I literally just posted one of those questions from our. Dang it. So a lot of them. I love comic art. You should know that. I bought a lot of comic art when we were at Comic-Con.
Yep.
So I will go through my local comic book store, and if I'm drawn to the comic, like the cover art, I flip through the book and I like the art style in the book, it doesn't matter if it is something I've never even heard of, I will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what ends up happening is I have like 100 comics sitting at home that I've never read. So a lot of them, unfortunately, a lot of comic books have been unread.
I'm sorry. Go read your comic books. Did I see the Windows Magic deck? No, I didn't.
Windows Magic deck?
All right, I'm putting it into the Google machine.
Yeah, we
Microsoft's magical internet. No, Microsoft Create Magic deck. You're gonna have to give me more. I don't. There's none. It's too vague for the thing. I don't know. I'm still mad about the Final Fantasy collector boosters. I've only bought a couple. I've bought some Final Fantasy and I've got enough, but I'm still upset about that UB set. Ever cried after losing a save file? Fuck yes. Fuck yes. And that actually brings me to that first question that you got posted in our rundown. What's the dumbest reason? I tell you right now, losing a save file will make me rage quit a game. Like I'm done. I give up. I can't go back and start over. Shameful geek purchase that you know what? I kind of want to talk about this for just a second because you talk about you got a lot of these ones that I'm sure you pulled from the thing about awkwardness in geek life. There was a point like what would you not say to somebody on a first date, etc. Nerdiest piece of merch you'd own that you'd never been on a first date. There was a point in my life where I would like downplay it, right? And I wouldn't mention it on the first date. I'd let them find that out about me later. Fuck that. Yeah. I don't care anymore. I don't give a good goddamn, right? I own a fucking. I got a Grogu over here. I got my Stranger Things D&D box set. I got my BB-8 up there. I got my Mario. Like I just don't give a shit anymore. Because here's the thing: if you on a first date, if I tell you that I love the fact that I own, fucking God knows how many RPG books, and that gives you the ick, fuck you, I'm out. Fuck you, I'm out.
That's fair. But first date, me personally, I don't think I would bring up the fact that I have a 2005 autograph Mew Pokemon card. just because we're talking about all the other nerdy stuff that I own, that we'll never get to that one.
I was about to say, like, I'm gonna let it come about organically. I'm not gonna be like, you know what the coolest nerdy shit I own is, right? Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Um, uh, yeah. Okay, somebody's gonna put this. I'm gonna grab this thing out of here
Oh,
for
Windows
this one.
Magic.
Yeah, let's find out what they're talking about. It's a reel. What the crap is this?
No, is this real? No. No.
That's pretty neat. Um,
Oh crap.
that's pretty cool. It's not really a magic. It's yeah, my library. Okay, I want that playmat. That's really dope.
That is pretty cool.
Right? It's a Clippy token. Looks like it was any copy. Which like I want that for copy tokens. Like I really do. That's pretty neat. I will have to look into that. I may go buy that. That's pretty fucking cool. Strange. I have a growth in my back that's turning color dizzy. Should I go see a doctor? Yes. What would a Windows ME deck be? Just constant counters. That is a very niche joke, my friend. That is a very niche joke. And I don't know how many people remember Windows ME. Probably very few people remember Windows ME. It's a thing. All right, got a couple more minutes left. It's better that they don't. Yeah, that Windows Magic deck is pretty fucking neat. I totally want that now. I gotta find that. So I will find that, chat, and we'll buy it, and then I'll show it on stream. What fandom opinion do you have that would get you canceled at Comic-Con? Do you want to answer that first? Or you want me to go first?
God, I was thinking about this. Yeah, if you have an answer, go first, because I still don't actually have an answer for that one.
Fans are awful. They really are. A lot of fans. I would say a plurality of the fandom, of every fandom community, sucks. They're just shitty fucking people. And I don't know what caused that. That actually could be a longer topic for another day. But I'll tell you right now, if the opinion on fandom that will get me canceled at Comic-Con is most fandoms, if they haven't become already, eventually become inherently toxic. Right? And it sucks, but I tell you, it's the fucking truth.
Yeah. Anyways,
I all suck. No, go ahead.
I think for me, the thing that would get me canceled, because every time when I bring this up, people lose their mind on. I actually enjoyed the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I've not seen the anime. I'm so sorry, everyone. We're gonna see our just everyone drop.
Two things. Somebody saw a random TikTok that said Show Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist did nothing wrong. I've never gotten so angry in my life. That is fucking true. Dude, if I saw somebody and somebody came to me like, Show Tucker did nothing wrong, like, straight to jail. You go straight to fucking jail.
Okay, that's not fair. The Dragon Ball live action movie, that is not fair.
Wow.
They're not on the same level at all.
People are comparing it. Oh, and you brought that on yourself, though. You have to admit that. You brought that out. So a second season of Firefly would suck. That will get you canceled at Comic-Con. That for sure will get you fucking canceled at Comic-Con. That's a really, really good one. Yeah. I think somebody's referring to fandoms being toxic, saying it is reversible if you work at it. I don't think so. I think once they cross a certain line, they become to a certain degree just inherently toxic from that point forward. I have yet to see a fandom, and I would love to be proven wrong on this point. So hit me with it if you can think of one. I have yet to see a fandom that dips its way into toxicity that's come out of it. It certainly ain't fucking the Star Wars fandom. Comic book fandom? Nope. Video games? Nope. Oddly enough, Battletech. That's pretty close, actually. Battletech, maybe. That's a small fandom. I don't think the Firefly fandom has become toxic, mostly because I don't think there's room for them to do it. Yeah, I'll say Battletech might win that one. But yeah, I can't think. I mean, it's, and again, I would the Battletech one is such a small fandom. I'm not sure. But that could be true. Have you ever seen a fandom come out of toxicity, Jay?
I can't think of any. Once they go down that path, like
Once you start down the path to the dark side,
yeah,
dominate it will your destiny. Individuals. Yes, absolutely. Somebody's saying individuals can come back from toxicity. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. People can decide to not be shit anymore. Right? They can wake up one day, and I say I was one of the, like, pointing at myself. Absolutely. There was a time when I fed into some of the toxic fandom stuff. And I'll say right now, yeah, you absolutely can come back from being part of it yourself. But the overall fandom, I think once it goes down that toxic road, it's really difficult for it to come back. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. Have you ever cried losing a save file, Jay?
I didn't cry, but I raged quit.
What game?
I had a friend that I helped out. He needed to get out of his living situation. He moved in with us. I had what was it? Oh crap. Elder Scrolls?
Mm-hmm.
On the PlayStation at the time, and he said, "Do you mind if I play?" I said, "As long as you don't overwrite my file."
And he overwrote your file.
And I, like you said, I quit. And he tried. He was like, "Oh, like it's always funner the second time you play." And I've never gone back. I've never played that game ever again because I was so mad.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, and that's why I left Florida. No,
Powder outage on first run through of Super Mario Brothers, no skips, pure every level run through, power loss as you got to the final jump. Yeah, I've had power outage just fuck my shit up, and I'll be honest, there's been a couple of times where I just didn't save often enough, right? Where I got like, I remember there was, what game was it? Fallout 3. And it was like a break there and something happened with my auto saves. And I lost like 3 hours worth of work on something. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm just done now. Because that was 3 hours of crap. And I can't do that 3 hours again. I can't bring myself to do it. Yeah. So that happened to me on a Fallout 3 playthrough. Telling you, my winner's toast, man. As soon as that when is that Final Fantasy Tactics reboot come out? When does that come out? Oh, yay! Okay, that's a fun tweak they're making to that. They say it's going to be easier to use Cloud in the new one. The Evil East Chronicles comes out September 30th. So I will dive into that September 30th. And I'll see you guys in February. That is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games ever. Is there a tactics panel at PAX this weekend? Please tell me there's not a fuck. What day is it? Spend a month assembling the $900 UCS Lego Millennium Falcon and drop it while trying to set up the display. Fuck. Why did you tell me that? There's a Final Fantasy Tactics panel at PAX West on Saturday. It's the making of the Evilest Chronicles from 2 to 3 at the Blue Dragon Theater. Oh, all right. I have to think about that. That might actually get me to go on Saturday. Do I have anything else going on Saturday? Oh. All right. Jay, I think we need to end the stream now.
Yeah. I mean, we put in some time today. Almost 2 hours. I think this is like kind of on the long end of our streams.
It's on the long end, but I think it went well. And I appreciate everybody who stuck with us through the whole stream.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Jay, do you have any closing thoughts for our lovely audience today?
Any closing thoughts? Yeah, I don't know. Always be yourself. Unless you can be Batman, then be Batman. But no, I'm just kidding. Be yourself.
Good advice.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.